Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zane here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a really fun team featuring Swampert. This team was built by a player called Neil VGC, who I've linked down in the description below. Neil's got an awesome YouTube channel, and he's one of the most underrated VGC YouTubers right now. He puts out really high quality content, trying out a lot of innovative and cool strategies that are also very strong for the metagame. So I'd really recommend you guys check him out. Like I mentioned, his YouTube is down there as well as his Twitter. So thanks to Neil for submitting the team. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps linked in the description below. And thanks so much for watching. If you do enjoy, please share support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. So when I saw that there was a Swampert on this team, I had to try it out. I actually brought Swampert to the 2015 World Championships, where I wish I could have done a little bit better with it. I started with a 3-1 record, but finished the tournament 4-3, got top 32 in it. But Swampert just gives me really good memories, and so I knew I had to feature this. And it's a really interesting set, honestly, because when I've seen Swampert, I'm used to it being, supportive with like wide guard, but the Swampert actually really packs a punch. So there are a couple of reasons why you would want to use Swampert, right? First of all, it's a Pokemon that people don't have very much experience playing against, so that in itself gives you an edge. But it's also just a really cool kind of like offensive Pokemon, right? This set has Curse and Yawn. Curse is really valuable into some of those Trick Room compositions that you'll go up against, because after a single Curse, Swampert can actually outspeed a lot of like the mid-tier restricted Pokemon like Calyrex or Palkia, for example. And so that in itself is really interesting, where the rest of the team is pretty speedy here, and so having something that's slow and then can be even slower gives you a nice advantage against Trick Room compositions. Swampert also, just packs a punch between high horsepower and liquidation. You think about the most common Pokemon in the format, you've got Regieleki, you've got Zacian, you've got Incineroar. Swampert has a pretty favorable matchup into all of those. And so, this Swampert can stick around in non-Dynamax form and just spread Yawns around. That's actually one of the best, parts about it. But it's also really strong as a Dynamax option if you're able to, say, get a Curse off. This team also has Screech Regieleki, which we've already featured on the channel previously, but it's really nice here in combination with all the physical attackers in Zacian, Swampert, Rillaboom, and Grimmsnarl. So, Swampert's just a really bulky Pokemon that can completely wall Regieleki most of the time, and so it's really nice as a switch-in option into Regieleki, and then you can start spreading Yawns and start disrupting your opponent. In the right position, if you get a Curse off, this thing can also just pack a punch and deal tons of damage across the board. So that's it for Swampert. We've also got Life Orb, Yveltal, and Zacian. These are pretty standard sets for the Yveltal Zacian core, which is one that we've seen a fair amount of recently. The main thing to note here is that the Yveltal and Zacian are a little bit slower. Normally with Yveltal and Zacian, a lot of players like to run max speed on Yveltal and Zacian, but here neither are actually max speed, so you do want to keep that in mind, especially if you're going up against opposing Yveltal and Zacians. This Yveltal here has Heat Wave, and so that allows you to just wreck opposing Zacians with Life Orb Max Flare, so that's really nice, and you run Dark Pulse and Oblivion Wing just to maximize your damage output. Zacian here is pretty standard, but it does have Quick Attack over Play Rough. Quick Attack is really nice because you can do some fun combos with that, and for example, Grassy Glide from Rillaboom and just like KO and a Regieleki before they can even move. We've already talked about Eleki here with the Screech. Pretty standard moveset otherwise, Thunderbolt, Electroweb, Protect, and it is max speed. And finally, you've got Grassy Seed, Swords Dance Rillaboom, as well as Black Glasses Grimmsnarl. Both of these sets are pretty cool because these Pokemon are really standard, but the way that they're run here are pretty different. The Grassy Seed and Grassy Surge on Rillaboom means that, you set up the defense boost immediately when you bring Rillaboom out, and that's really valuable against opposing Zacians. It ensures that you can survive a Behemoth Blade with no problem. Swords Dance into high horsepower can also just KO opposing Zacians. And Swords Dance is also nice because Rillaboom's one of those Pokemon that if you get the Swords Dance off, like priority +2 Grassy Glides just do so much damage to so many Pokemon in the format. And then the Black Glasses Grimmsnarl here is really interesting. I didn't bring it out too much in the practice games that I had with this team, but I think it's really neat because first of all, it's just a completely different Grimmsnarl set. So you've got Throat Chop and Sucker Punch, and combine that with Dark Aura from Yveltal as well as Black Glasses on Grimmsnarl, and this thing can pack an absolute punch. Fake Out's nice just because I feel like very few players respect Fake Out from Grimmsnarl these days, and then Scary Face is also nice to just drop your opponent's speeds, especially relevant since Yveltal and Zacian, as I mentioned, aren't max speed. So overall, I'm hoping we can get some action out with Swampert here. Yveltal is going to be the main max option, but Eleki, Swampert, and Rillaboom are all viable max options, and even Grimmsnarl to an extent as well, so a lot of flexibility with this team. So yeah. That's it for the breakdown. Question of the day with us using Swampert. I want to know what your favorite final starter evolution is down in the comment section below. Swampert is actually one of them for me, which is one of the reasons I wanted to feature it. So let me know yours down in the comment section below, and let's get started. All right, we've got Palkia and Calyrex Ice Rider here for the first one. So Swampert is pretty interesting here because of Curse. Now, they do have Rillaboom and Amoonguss, so obviously have to watch out for that. Regieleki with Screech here I feel like can be really solid. I kind of want to just go with the top 4 Pokemon here. If I'm worried about Trick Room setups here, what can they lead with that gives me problems? Like, I think Calyrex Ice Rider in general is going to be an issue here, so like Curse Swampert is pretty intriguing. I could go like Regieleki Yveltal, Regieleki Zacian. Regieleki Swampert, honestly, is pretty interesting to me with Yveltal and Zacian in the back. Like, part of the question I have here is my opponent really going to bring in the Rillaboom into this matchup? Because it's so weak into both of my restricteds, right? You could still make an argument for it if you're worried about the Swampert here, but I think this has the potential for Swampert to put in a lot of work. Because if I get a Curse off on the first turn, then I can Dynamax it and then just, like, max Quake. And that would give me special defense boosts against Palkia as well. So, really hoping Swampert can put in some work for us here. We'll have to see, but either way, excited to try it out here. And Curse can actually benefit me as well if they try to set up Trick Room, because then I have the potential to outspeed them under Trick Room. So another interesting component to it. So let's see. I think you could bring Grimmsnarl here, you could bring Rillaboom here, but like neither feel like super strong to me. Grimmsnarl is mainly valuable for like a faster than expected fake out, and then like, yeah, scary face stuff. That's Palkia and Amoonguss. Okay. Palkia and Amoonguss is mainly concerning here because of just Spore from Amoonguss, which I could actually Dynamax with the Regieleki and just max the Lightning. Huh. You know what's one really interesting play here? It's to Screech into Amoonguss, Dynamax, and just max Quake it to begin. I guess the question is whether or not I'm confident max Quake would actually pick up the KO, but I'm honestly kind of down for this because I don't have a great way of stopping Spore right now, and that causes me some major issues, right? And so with this, if you set up Trick Room, Swampert's actually going to outspeed you under Trick Room, right? So, yeah, I'm going to try to just snipe off Amoonguss here on turn 1. My fear is that it's defensive enough that even after Screech it survives a Max Quake, which certainly can be the case, because it's not like Swampert's attack is, like, absolutely amazing, but here we go. I did not expect to Dynamax Swampert in my first game with this team, but the Pert is out. Okay, they go for Rage Powder. Cool. That works for me then, because then this means even if I miss out on the KO, it's not the end of the world. Screech does connect. Okay, fantastic. So that's nice. And I will get a Max Quake off now. Ideally, we KO the Amoonguss here. That does get the knockout. Wow. Cool. Okay. So now if you set up Trick Room, I mean, like, the clear Dynamax option is Calyrex. Actually, is it? I mean, you could max with Palkia. It's just interesting because I have these special defense boosts now. I have my own Yveltal and Zacian in the back. Both are pretty weak under Trick Room here, though, unfortunately. So they're going to bring out Calyrex. Yep. Stalling out Trick Room here is going to be pretty difficult. I guess you could just max Palkia and then just Glacial Lance and then max, like, Geyser here. Or max Wormwind. Yeah, actually, max Wormwind's pretty powerful, right? Okay, I'm down to just Thunderbolt Calyrex here. And Quake it. Yeah. Big question here is who they Dynamax, because both are decent as max options right now. So that turn was okay for me, but yeah, Trick Room being up here is still kind of a problem. So like, how could I have denied Trick Room with this team? I guess leading Rillaboom, because then I can fake out turn 1 into the Palkia, and then I'm also immune to Spore. I could go like Rillaboom Yveltal, but then it's like kind of weak into Calyrex Ice Rider. Okay, they're actually gonna max Calyrex here, which I'm actually okay with, mainly because it means you can't Glacial Lance and you can only target one Pokemon at a time. Okay, so there's Hailstorm, yep. It's a Swampert, okay. Oh my gosh. That's so much damage, wow. Calyrex is just so strong. Oh, and it's Life Orb, that's why, okay. Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting to get, like, take so much damage there, but the Life Orb makes so much more sense now. Unfortunately, I do such little damage in return. Does give me a special defense boost, though. And a Spatial Rend into Swampert, yeah. Could have doubled on Palkia for a knockout there instead. How bad is this, though? I can double protect this next turn relatively safely, right? Double protect. Okay. And, like, the Calyrex max makes a lot of sense, but in my eyes, I was just thinking maybe you max Palkia instead, because Calyrex has so much utility from Glacial Lance. Palkia switches. Okay, into Incineroar. It's fine. Like, the thing is, we have a solid endgame with Zacian and Yveltal right now. It's just, how do we actually get there? The interesting thing here is Calyrex can only pick up 1 KO this next turn rather than 2, so through just using Protect, we should be able to stall out Trick Room. Okay, they're going to Quake here into Regieleki. Makes sense. Great prediction, by the way. I guess you don't have too much to lose in that position. Now they actually can pick up a double KO with Fake Out into a move. But the thing is, then I get Yveltal and Zacian now, and then I can just double Protect, right? Which is pretty good for me. I do have to keep in mind they did get a special defense boost just now, so I got to be a little bit careful about that. Okay. Would have been cool if I clicked Curse on turn 1 of this game, but then Amoonguss can just Spore me, right? Which isn't great. Yeah, 2 turns of Trick Room here, so I can just sack both. And then have Zacian and Yveltal in the endgame. Yeah, I think that's the correct line here. Okay, Thunderbolt and Liquidation. Thank you for your service, Swampert. Against Amoonguss plus Palkia specifically, like Yveltal and Swampert's pretty interesting because I can just max Airstream into the Amoonguss and then Yawn into the Palkia slot. But Yveltal Swampert makes me nervous for a bunch of different reasons because, like, they could just go with... Well, actually, I guess if they went with Amoonguss plus Calyrex. The thing is, if it's Focus Sash or Koba on the... Focus Sash or Koba, it causes some problems. One interesting play to make there, by the way, is to actually go for a hard switch and switch into Yveltal. Like, I think it's a little bit risky for them to be clicking Max Quake here, because if I were to actually switch in Yveltal, they just wouldn't get an attack off. But it also covers for the Zacian switch in, so I think it's a fair play. Okay, interesting. They actually Parting Shot. So Parting Shot makes sense, but it actually means that you fail to knock out the Regieleki, right? Dynamax now ends as well. Like, it makes sense because they want to recycle the Intimidate for the end game against Zacian. So we'll get a Thunderbolt off against Palkia. It's not going to do too much because I'm at -1, but Life Orb damage is ticking as well. This next turn, my opponent has the sickest play to potentially make, which is clicking Trick Room with both Pokemon. If they have it on Calyrex as well. Okay. Because now I'm going to bring in Yveltal. I'm just going to protect Yveltal. What are the odds they go for the double Trick Room play right now? I mean, if they have it, they should go for it. Them being Life Orb Calyrex makes me think there's a higher chance they're not actually running Trick Room on it for another offensive attack. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I will T-Bolt Palkia here. You also have to be worried about Sucker Punch, I guess, but I don't actually have that. T-Bolt and Protect. Okay, they don't go for the double Trick Room play. Nice. Them actually bringing in Instant immediately is actually a really big deal because it means you don't get the Intimidate off against my Zacian, which I'll gladly take. Okay. The Intimidate there makes sense, though, because it covers for Sucker Punch on Yveltal, so I get that. Okay. The thing is, now I get a free switch it into Zacian, so this next turn is very interesting. Incineroar does have a Fake Out, but do you actually click Fake Out? If I were in their shoes, I would actually consider, like, protecting with the Calyrex and then going for, like, a Flare Blitz onto Zacian. Okay. Not safety goggles on the Incineroar. Don't know the item on it yet. Trick Room has expired. Now I bring in Zacian. I mean, I am nervous about just eating a Flare Blitz from the Incin right now. Calyrex is actually at +2 special defense as well. I don't think you take a Life Orb Dark Pulse here, though. So basically here, my two plays are... My opponent could just Fake Out into Yveltal and Trick Room. They could protect Calyrex and Flare Blitz. They could Fake Out one of these and just Glacial Lance. If I were them, I would protect Calyrex and Flare Blitz, truthfully. Okay, I'm splitting my damage and going for Sacred Sword and Dark Pulse here. Okay, they Fake Out into Zacian, nice. So, I hope Life Orb Dark Pulse gets the KO. They do have a bunch of special defense boosts, but they're so low. Beautiful. Okay. That should win us the game, I think. Well, not necessarily, actually. Palkia can still do Palkia things, but... Now I can double up onto the Incin slot with a Sacred Sword and an Oblivion Wing, which covers for... Unless Incineroar has Protect here, but since so few Incineroars actually carry Protect, I feel okay going for that. Sacred Sword, if it just one-shots Incin, then Oblivion Wing gets redirected into Palkia. That's great. And I just want to, like, cover for Palkia protecting here, and then Incineroar Flare Blitzing into Zacian. So, yeah. We're going to Sacred Sword and Oblivion Wing here. Shoutouts to Swampert, though. Getting that knockout on Amoonguss turn 1 was so hype. Okay, so they don't protect either Pokemon. That's fine. Sacred Sword there does actually just one-hit KO. Beautiful. Yeah, I think them bringing Incin out when they switched Palkia out gave me a pretty big advantage because it meant no Intimidate onto the Incineroar slot. So now we get Life Orb. Oblivion Wing does not pick up the KO, but Palkia cannot knock both of us out. If you Trick Room, I can just Quick Attack. If you KO Zacian, I just Oblivion Wing again. So nothing they can really do here. So it's just going to be Earth Power. Yep. And Zacian hangs on. Cool. Not how I expected the first game to go with this team, but the fact that we got to Dynamax Swampert and get a KO, a one-hit KO onto Amoonguss, of all things, is pretty cool, I would say. And this isn't the easiest matchup, I think, because like Dynamax Calyrex is really scary and under Trick Room against Yveltal and Zacian. I think one big thing in this game was when they went for Parting Shot onto the Regieleki slot. If they had just gotten a knockout onto Regieleki there with something like Flare Blitz, then I'm forced to bring in my final two Pokemon, and then stalling out Trick Room becomes more difficult, and you can cycle the Incineroar back in and out for Intimidate. But because they actually went for Parting Shot there, like their switches here benefited me a little bit just because it meant that they weren't picking up knockouts, so I was actually able to stall out Trick Room and have enough resources to win even after Trick Room ended. So yeah, really fun debut for Swampert here though, so let's keep things going. Next game here, we're actually up against Butterfree Pikachu, which I had actually played at Salt Lake City Regionals, used by a player called Max. It was Focus Sash, Butterfree, I think it was Life Orb Charizard, Whimsicott with Sunny Day, Tailwind. Yeah, you got Pikachu there as well. Huh, okay, how do I want to deal with this? I do have Quick Attack on Zacian, so that's intriguing. One lead that I went up against when playing against this team at Regionals was Butterfree plus Charizard. Honestly, I think Regieleki is pretty good here. Like, Regieleki, Zacian. Yveltal. You know, this could still be a pretty good matchup for Dynamax Swampert. The question is whether or not I should be bringing Grim or Rillaboom, because they both have Fake Out here. So with the Grim, for example, I could get a Fake Out onto the Butterfree. Butterfree, I guess, could also Max, which is a little bit scary. Okay, I'm just going to go with these four. But I think you can make a pretty solid argument for either Rillaboom or Grimmsnarl here. So, yeah, this team had an insane victory on stream, which was really, really cool. Where Max, the original creator and player, ended up not bringing a single restricted Pokemon in Game 3 and ended up winning. Okay. Butterfree and Zacian. Okay. I honestly think this works out pretty well. Because it's a relatively free Electro Web turn 1, and you know I can just attack with Zacian. The only question is, I guess they could bring in Pikachu. But yeah, I'm down to just Electro Web here, and then just go for a Behemoth Blade onto Butterfree. Like, even if you switch in Pikachu here, it's still not an issue. Their Zacian is probably just Jolly Max Speed, but that's okay, because I'll drop your speed with Electro Web. Cool, they don't switch out either. Okay, that's a pleasant surprise. I'll just KO Butterfree with that. I just really don't want to get put to sleep here. I guess Dynamax Aleki was another interesting consideration, but I don't think it really... If I had Max Strike here, I'd actually consider it. Well, actually, wait, no. If I'm maxing Aleki, I'm going for Lightning instead of Electric Terrain, so yeah. Okay, I mean, either way, this is not a bad start, right? Like, I've dropped your Zacian's speed. I've gotten rid of the Sleep Powder user in Butterfree. So, if you didn't bring Whimsicott now, you're actually in a lot of trouble, I think. Okay, they target Zacian, we survive, nice. Even if you bring Whimsicott out here, it's also kind of an awkward spot to be in, so let's see what comes out. Pikachu would be really interesting right now. But if it were Pikachu, then... what would I do? That's where Swampert then puts in a ton of work for me, I think. It is Pikachu! Okay, okay. That's pretty cool. So they've got Yveltal in the back. I just wonder, like, that Pikachu probably has a grass type attack, no? I almost want to click Screech onto this. Okay, I'm actually down to switch Zacian out this turn, go for Screech on a Pikachu. I'm very curious as to whether or not a Quick Attack from Zacian after a Screech can knock out the Dynamax Pikachu. Or I guess I should say Gigantamax Pikachu. Okay, they just go for Fake Out. Cool. Nice, we hit that. I'm also worried about Pikachu having a Grass type attack here, so that's one thing to watch out for. Play rough into Aleki, that's fine. Okay, well now I have Quick Attack, right? Which is good. If you have a Grass type attack here, I could see you just Dynamaxing going for... would it be Grass Knot? Okay, I'm down to Protect here. I'm just thinking who I want to Dynamax in this game. Like, I'm honestly kind of down for a Max Swampert right now from this position. And just Quake into Pikachu. Because here's the thing. Let's say you end up maxing Pikachu, which they do, and you have a Grass type attack. Then I could just bring out my Zacian and then just... I was saying Quick Attack earlier, but I could just Behemoth Blade you, honestly. That's pretty sick, though. Fake Out, Electric type attack, Grass type attack, Water type attack is the moveset. Makes a ton of sense to me here. But the thing is that my Yveltal is going to get crushed by Pikachu either way, so I'm down to just Max Swampert here. If they don't go for the Grass type attack, or they don't have one, Swampert just wins the game this turn. And even if they do, and I don't get anything out of my Dynamax, I think because we built an early lead and got that speed drop on his Zacian, it's actually okay as well. Okay, Service Protect. Yeah, they have Max Overgrowth. I assume this one-shots me, but let's see. Oh, it doesn't! Wow, that's amazing. The thing is, Zacian doubling up into that slot is fairly likely, I feel like. So let's see. They didn't. Okay, that just wins me the game. That was really scary, though. Like, we almost lost the Pikachu here. That's the thing, right? Like, this team, you look and you say, like, oh, it has Butterfree and Pikachu, but it's actually so terrifying to go up against, especially with the status conditions from both the Pikachu and the Butterfree. So, don't underestimate this team just because it has, you know, Pikachu and Butterfree. In fact, you should be more scared of it because of that. Shout out to Swampert, though, here today. Like, it took a Max Overgrowth from a Gigantamax Pikachu, which you love to see. Okay, so we're up 4-2 now. My Zacian is relatively low. Swampert here has taken quite the beating as well, but as long as they don't have Quick Attack, which I don't think you do on Zacian, because if you had Quick Attack, you would have just gone for that, I think, over Behemoth Blade. So what I can do now is Max Guard my Swampert and just Electro Web into the Kyogre that's coming in here. But I could still lose this game off a miss right now, and that's probably the scariest thing of it all. I guess I could also just Thunderbolt here into Kyogre, right? Because Thunderbolt into Quick Attack I would think is a KO onto Kyogre. Yeah, that actually might be the more consistent route here. Unless it's not Choice Scarf Kyogre, but I feel like it should be. So I'm going to Max Guard and T-Bolt here. I really had no idea whether or not Swampert was going to survive that max overgrowth, by the way. That's just such an obscure damage calc. Like, I don't think I'm ever calcing for whether or not Pikachu, you know, is KOing me. Okay, they protect Zacian. Brilliant. No reason to target Zacian right now, because, like, I know you are going to get the speed drop onto it, so my Zacian will outspeed you in the late game. Beautiful, and I get Thunderbolt off. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Quick Attack should finish it off from this range. And they Origin Pulse. Sweet. So now I bring in my Zacian. Ooh, Regieleki dodges it as well. Okay. I mean, that just fully seals up the game, but... The question I have here is the item on Kyogre, but given that Kyogre had Grassy Terrain recovery before Zacian, I'm confident it was Choice Scarf there. So basically, you know, how this would have boiled down is if that miss doesn't happen, I bring in Zacian, I just go for Quick Attack onto the Kyogre and Max Quake onto the Zacian, right? Quick Attack KOs Kyogre. From that position, Zacian has to Blade to KO Swampert. If you don't, then I just win the game with Max Quake immediately. And if you Blade, then it's Yveltal and Zacian in the end game against their Zacian. I've got Heat Wave, and you've got the speed drop on your Zacian as well. Yeah. So I don't think that miss honestly mattered. I felt very confident about this end game, but obviously just accelerates him to this point. I think what was really big in this game is that my opponent didn't bring Tailwind. Whimsicott would have been a little bit scarier. For example, if they had just led Whimsicott instead with Zacian and then go with Butterfree and Kyogre in the back, I think things get scarier for me. So the fact that they did not go for that was beneficial for us here. But yeah, Swampert put in a lot of work here, so I'm really, really pleased about his performance. So yeah, didn't think I'd have 2 for 2 on Dynamax Swampert here today, but shoutouts to it. So let's look for one final one. Whoa, third game here. If we've got Calyrex, Kyogre, Torkoal, Amoonguss, Indeedee, and Oranguru. This reminds me of that one Oranguru team that made it really far in Juniors Worlds. Was it 2017 or 18? One of those years. I want to show some love to Grassy Seed Rillaboom and Black Glasses Grin, but I don't know if either are really amazing here. Maybe we go 3 for 3 on maxing Swampert today. What am I nervous about lead-wise here? I guess like Amoonguss plus Calyrex is pretty scary to me. I'm intrigued by Yveltal and Swampert, Zacian, and maybe Rillaboom instead of the Regieleki. Because with this lead, I can just like Oblivion Wing into Yawn on turn 1, which I think is very intriguing. Grim is also interesting here. Because, you know, it's got the Black Glasses, and so I can actually do a really significant damage to both Calyrex and Indeedee, but I just don't feel like it's consistent enough for me to feel confident in it. I could have led Grim. That's like the... If I were to bring it, I definitely would be leading it, I think. Indeedee and Oranguru. Okay, that's a really passive lead. I mean, I think this is amazing for Swampert, truthfully. You can't even click Fake Out onto Swampert because of Psychic Surge. It's like turn 1, I'm down to just Curse with Swampert here. And Dark Pulse. Psychic Seed, okay. And I'm down to just Dark Pulse the Indeedee, because like even if you switch into Calyrex Ice Rider, like you just take so much damage. So Dark Pulse and Curse turn 1. I think that's pretty powerful here. Okay, they switch. So it's like you could go into Calyrex and yeah, like maybe I end up activating your policy, but you take so much damage. And then Swampert can just Dynamax in front of you and Max Quake you, know? Okay, so Life Orb Dark Pulse there. Or we can just one-shot Calyrex. Yeah, I don't know. That was a kind of a risky play here. I think the game's over, honestly. I think Swampert wins the game here. That's the thing. This format can be really volatile, but even if like Calyrex was bulky enough to survive that, like I felt fine. Indeedee plus Oranguru is just such a passive lead, right? You never pressure with damage with that combination, and they don't really have too many good, like, support attacks that they can, you know, it's not like you can really put me to sleep, for example. And so, yeah, I mean, we were just able to take advantage of the fact that that lead just does very little for my opponent. Okay. So we should be in a fantastic, especially with Grassy Seed Rillaboom in the back. Yeah, like, I think here I'm just going to protect Yveltal, Max, Geyser, KO Oranguru. Then you bring out Indeedee, you change the terrain, but then I just am able to change the terrain back with Rillaboom. So feeling pretty good here. I guess the only consideration is going for a Max Quake instead to get a special defense boost. I actually don't think that's a terrible idea either, but I don't think Swampert's getting one shot here by Kyogre. Okay, they don't Dynamax it. Cool. That works. We're 3 for 3 on maxing Swampert today. That's awesome. Okay. There's a KO. And they Water Spout. Perfect. Man, okay. It's all. It is a 2-hit KO on Swampert. After leftovers, though. The thing is, I'm just gonna Max Quake this next turn, I think. And with Max Quake, actually, that'll also allow me to go for, like, I can just attack with Yveltal, because I can Quake into the Kyogre slot. Well, actually, let's think about this a little bit. Kyogre should Dynamax, right? How many turns of Trick Room do we have left? 3? Yeah, I'm down to just Dark Pulse Indeedee here, and then just Max Quake into Kyogre. Because Rillaboom in the back should be very good for me in this endgame. Okay, they go for Follow Me, which is fine, right? Like, I just get a special defense boost. Yeah. So there's Max Quake. Okay, your Focus Sash, that's fine. What a game by Swampert here. This was the best demonstration of Swampert, if anything. Okay. And Water Spout, cool. Yep, we survive, perfect. And now Rillaboom just wins this endgame. I think the lead, like, this is the thing with this VGC format. Like, it is actually so hard to play, in my opinion, because you can so easily lose the game on just one turn, and I've had that happen to me, like, so much, right? So, it's a tough spot for my opponent, because this matchup already isn't great for them, but I think Indeedee and Oranguru is the most passive lead that they could have gone with. So, you could, like, something like Amoonguss and Oranguru is a little bit scarier, or Amoonguss and Calyrex, I think I would have had a very tough time into, actually. So, now we can just protect. Go for a Quake into Kyogre. Actually, I'm curious how much Geyser does. At this point, like, Rillaboom wins the game anyway, so I'm just curious how much +1 Geyser and Rain does, but we're not going to get to find out, unfortunately. Wow, such a fun day with Swampert here, though. I'm so pleased about it. And so, yeah, really just, you know, we featured the Curse in this one. In the previous games, it was just using it as a Dynamax form. Curse was so good against Trick Room in this matchup specifically, so that's one of the values of having it, you know, here. But it's been a fast couple of games, so I'll look for one final one, actually. It's another Yveltal Zacian team here. We have pretty similar Pokemon, but they've got Regieleki, Incin, Whimsicott, and Amoonguss. I don't really like Yveltal Zacian mirrors here, because we're slower with Yveltal and Zacian most of the time, because they're not max speed. I don't think the bottom 2 Pokemon really provide much, so I think I just gotta go with the top 4 here. Okay, I like Yveltal, Swampert, Regieleki, and Zacian in the back, I think. Swampert here is really interesting because of Yawn. I don't think it's the right Dynamax option. We also don't have Play Rough on Zacian, so dealing with their Yveltal might be a little bit scarier. Yeah. This one's pretty tricky because I think they're just going to consistently be faster than me, but a single Yawn from Swampert is really good. Whim and Yveltal. Whim actually causes some really big issues here with Taunt. So the question is, like, do I want to just read into a Taunt? You know? Yeah, the Torkoal goes off first, too. Now I have a Regieleki. So, honestly, I think on turn 1, I'm actually just going to Oblivion Wing and Liquidation here, because if I were them, I would Taunt and then Max Airstream. And if I can knock out Whimsicott before they get a Tailwind up, then It's not even that good. Also, if they just had like Energy Ball or Grass Knot here onto Swampert, I'm in a lot of trouble. The funny thing is, like, so many Grass-type Pokemon in this format don't even run a Grass-type attack, whether it be Whimsicott or Amoonguss. Because it's like, the Grass coverage is really not that valuable in the format. But if Whim actually had Energy Ball here, that would be no good. I mean, I could have just Dynamaxed my Yveltal here, but the thing is, like, I'm going to be slower consistently, right? So let's say I knew my opponent was going to lead this. What are my better options? I could go with Zacian, but then they could just Tailwind and then Life Orb Max Flare my Zacian. I really don't know here, honestly. Okay, they go for Fake Tears. That actually is okay with me for now. You will just get the KO onto me. Yeah. Yeah, this lead is so fast-paced. The interesting thing here is now I can at least go into my Zacian. Hold on, yeah, this actually works. Well, it doesn't work if you have Max Flare on Yveltal and you just one-shot me, actually. Because their play now is to, like, Tailwind and Max Flare into Zacian. So, like, I'm thinking, hey, I bring out to Zacian. Okay, if I bring out Regieleki, they just get a guaranteed Tailwind up, right? And I just lose from there. So basically here, the big question is, do you have Max Flare on the Yveltal? Because if you don't, then I actually have a pretty good angle to win the game, which is Dynamax Yveltal, a Quick Attack Whimsicott to deny them from getting a speed boost, and then give Zacian a speed boost. So Airstream into Yveltal and Quick Attack. But unfortunately, most Yveltals on these compositions these days do run Max Flare. Yeah, I think the Yveltal Zacian mirror is really tough when they're faster than you. So I'm just trying to think how I could have led better here, especially against a Fake Tears Whimsicott. Like, I guess I could go with Grimmsnarl because it has Fake Out. So, like, Grim plus Zacian is a possibility. But then if you have Protect on Whimsicott, you can just double Protect turn 1, then in turn 2 Tailwind. So I truthfully don't think we have many good options here. So we'll see. I think if they don't have Heat Wave, which turns into Max Flare here, then we actually have a fighting chance right now. But if they have it, then I'm in a lot of trouble. Ugh, and they Protect. Really good play. Okay, so now even if you don't have Flare, still not good news for me. Yeah, perfectly played first 2 turns by them. Yeah, they have Max Flare. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to win this game, though, unless, like, they didn't have Flare, right? So I figured I might as well go for the one thing that can maybe win me the game, because if they don't have Max Flare there, Quick Attack KOs you don't get Tailwind up, Airstream into the Yveltal, that gives Zacian a speed boost, and then my Zacian outspeeds both their Yveltal and their Whimsicott. But now I think the game is just over. Yeah, this Whimsicott, like, they did have Protect as well, right? So it's like Protect and Fake Tears is such a deadly combination because I don't see any consistent lead against this. I guess I could consider Regieleki. Like, you know, I don't think it's completely hopeless, but like maybe Regieleki plus... I really don't know, honestly. Yeah, I got a speed boost at least, but now you can just Tailwind with Whimsicott. Is there any way I can win this game still? Let's think about it. They're going to have Zacian in the back, and I would guess Regieleki as their 4th. If that's the case, I'm just doomed, I think. I think my best bet here is to actually keep Whimsicott around. I'm going to max guard, hoping that they target the Yveltal slot, and then T-Bolt into Yveltal. This is like the only path I can see. The problem with this is that it doesn't even really work, because then they just bring out Zacian. But then I can maybe go for a double Protect from that angle. Yeah, and they just Darkness into Regieleki. They play this game perfectly. Like, perfect lead and basically made the right play every turn. So I don't feel bad losing to that. Like, this was already a tough matchup, and they executed it perfectly. This is a great contrast to the previous games we had, though, right? Because the problem for my opponents in all of the previous games we played today is that they had no way to effectively KO Swampert early on. Mainly because Swampert's just really bulky, right? Like, normally I'd only expect to get one shot by, I don't know, like Water Spout and Rain or Grassy Glide from Rillaboom. But Fake Tears adds another element of depth to it, right? And so Swampert would normally be an effective lead here because it can take like a Max Airstream or Max Darkness from Life Orb Yveltal, I think. But you add Fake Tears to it and there's just no chance. And I just don't know how I beat Whimsicott and Yveltal here. I just don't see a clear, consistent answer. It is interesting they brought out Incin here first. If I had protected Regieleki and Airstream there, would it have accomplished anything? 3 turns of Tailwind. I'm at +1 speed. Mine neutral. Okay, hold on. I actually think why did they bring Incin out there instead of whatever their final one was? I actually think that gives me a slight window to get back into this. I think it's still probably over, but the thing is now I can give Regieleki a speed boost. I guess Moonblast is going to do a ton here with the special defense drops, but... Okay, we survive, and I get the Airstream off. That's definitely a crit. I mean, I guess the thing is you just bring in Zacian now, right? Zacian should be faster than me, so then you can just double up. But if Zacian weren't max speed for some reason, and I just Electro Web into Heat Wave, that would just win me the game. I just don't really get the decision to bring out the Incin first, because you could just go into Zacian and just Behemoth Blade the Yveltal and then Moonblast the Regieleki slot. But if they're max speed Zacian here, then I don't think it makes a difference. I mean, I'm at +2 speed now with this, +1 with this. You're neutral, you have Tailwind up. So the thing is, yeah, if your Zacian is not like fast enough to outspeed Regieleki at +1 speed, I actually win the game. I expect it to be max speed here, though. Let's see. Either way, I mean, at least we're in a position where we could win the game. I'll take it, given how bad the early lead was. I don't think there's a safe answer here into Whim and Yveltal. Swampert's not it. Rillaboom's not it. Okay, they are faster. And I'm assuming that's going to Regieleki, right? Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense then. You know, they were thinking, I'm just going to bring out Incin first to stall out your Dynamax because I know I'm max speed Zacian. So that line of thinking makes complete sense. Might as well just stall out my Dynamax, right? And whittle away at the Yveltal. So we have met our match here, and it's a faster Yveltal and a faster Zacian. Maybe we do something with Regieleki as a lead, like Regieleki Zacian, but then I can just get hit by Fake Tears and Max Flare. Yveltal Regieleki, I could Airstream at least with that. If I were to replay this, I'd probably go Yveltal Regieleki Zacian and just not bring Swampert in this one, but it's definitely a tricky one. Anyway, though, I had so much fun using this team today, so I hope at least I've opened your eyes to how good Swampert can potentially be. So huge thank you to Neil once again for the team. Thanks to you all as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.